All right. Hello and welcome everybody to some more Minecraft musings, the Shack of Shame edition. So, where we left off last was I'm building a shack to house my concerns with society and the world, and I'm starting off with landlords. So, I've got plenty of experience with this. I've rented multiple places, and almost every place was garbage. Like the way that I feel like they handled things, the way that they did things, it was absolute hot garbage. Like I mean, granted, like some of them they were like rental companies, and so that's a little more understandable. Like the it came from somewhere else, like decisions and all that, and so maybe actually, you know what? I do want there to be a button. Oh, so actually, wait, maybe we just do the button in there, so then the button, and then you go in here, you think about what you've done. Yeah, because this guy, like, oh, man. And my original motivation for this is Phong, my last landlord. And I will use first name basis with these. I'll have one for Will, the rapist. I've got one for, oh, I've got a few people. Not just a rapist, a thief too. That was a bad one. Um, Although I actually got revenge on him. We fist fought, and like, I think I won. I mean, technically, I think people would have said he won, but he also cheated. He put me in a headlock at the end because he knew he was losing, and he was like, I don't. He was done at that point. He's like, I didn't want to do it anymore. I was like, well, yeah, because you realize that you might not just be able to just beat your way out of submission with this one. You realize I'm not some little whatever. So I gave him a run for his money. uh, and I would do it again too. The dude was literally drugging and raping people. Like, come on, there's no excuse for that. Like, if you joke about the worst things when you're sitting in jail and talking to people and you're trying to figure out like who did the worst stuff, it's the sex offenders every time, especially the ones against kids. But this guy, okay, this guy didn't diddle kids. Congratulations, you didn't do that. But you still like drugged and raped people. Like, yeah, that's shack of shame. In fact, he'll get an outhouse of shame. This one, it's actually a kind of decent house. I'm actually kind of liking it, which I hate. One, two, three. One, two, three. Oh, also something I need to do. Oh, it's gonna start hurting. There we go. So yeah, shack of shame. Okay. So, and basically landlords, and I get it, like they're trying to earn money off of a rental property and they're not trying to spend any expenditures and they're only getting a small margin and then they're still paying like the mortgage for the house. Most of the rent goes right to the mortgage with a little bit left over. And they got into it thinking, oh, we're going to make money and be able to live off of it. Well, a lot like people do streaming, myself included, they make affiliate and then they realize, oh, there's no money in this. Like, there's only money in it if you like stream every week, like 2 or 3 days a week, and then you have to have thousands of followers and all this, which I still feel like I'm going to try to do. I'm going to get back into Twitch streaming, but I'm not going to do it for the money because there is no money. I mean, it's really hard to make money off of that stuff. What I'm going to do it for is try to fix shenanigans like I have encountered. Hmm. Ooh, actually, that looks kind of cool. Like this Shack of Shame is starting to become. It's actually kind of pretty cool. Which I don't like that. It needs to be trash, garbage. Well, I don't know. But the point of the Shack of Shame is to not just leave it garbage. Like then there's that birch shack over there. I built that for my son because he hates birch. I wonder. I don't even know what he thinks about this new wood, which is even paler and whiter. Like he just hates birch. Although that looks pretty good in city texture pack. It looks almost like acacia trees or something. So, anyways, Shack of Shame. Put it on the wall. Let's see. Phong. Landlords. Shack of Shame. Landlords. And then I'll do all that. Fawn, there's Jill, there's Desiree, there's. Wait, who did I say? Not Phil. Liz? Desiree? Jill. Jill. Sorry. I was like, Phil. That doesn't sound right. I thought I said Phil. Alright, so we've got Shack of Shame, Landlords. Now we need to get. Let's go ahead and finish it, I suppose. I have a bad habit of doing that. Like, I'll half build things. Okay, so basically. Oops. Nope. Dang it. I like that mechanic, but then I don't when I don't want it to do that. So okay. So basically, we were in a verbal agreement. A lot of our dealings were verbal agreements, and yeah, the dude's going through a divorce. So I know he doesn't have money. He's really trying to scrape together, and now he's like having to lean on this. He had to get a job. Like, oh, boo hoo, like cry me a river. Well, how are you not working before? That's what gets me. Like, he was basically living off of his wife, who ran a nail salon, a very prominent nail salon in Fort Collins, and she worked very hard. I talked to her, and this was the funny part. This was the part, and by funny I mean the part that I really am mad at this guy, is because he told me to not talk to his soon-to-be ex-wife. He said a lot of very mean things about her, like F her, she's a B, like, she's just stupid and this and that. It's very disrespectful to her. And I get it, you're going through a divorce. You might not be sunshine and roses with this person. However, she also owns this condo. She has equal say. And in this country, because I kind of got a little bit of like womanizing out of this dude. Like, he didn't really treat women all that fair. And I got that from her too. Like, she worked 7 days a week in this nail salon, like, you know, making the ladies of Fort Collins all beautified and all that. Like, raising two kids in college age and all this. And that was that was the thing that really pissed me off, is because like I offered him a very steep discount on the educational program that I work for. I was like, yo, I could get you a very good deal for your kids if you wanted them to go do this amazing program. Like, you know, whatever. I'll still offer it to his kids, and I'm actually talking to, well, anyways, that might be a little too personal. Let's go back to, trying to broad strokes with this guy. So he's a slumlord. He got into renting for the sake of making money. He thought he was going to make a decent amount of money off of renting a condo. Bought this place for 200,000 back in the day. That's one interesting thing. And I'm going to be using a lot of that information in these reports and things like, you know, how much money did they make here and there, and is that fair? And then, especially when compared to how they treated the people that they made the money off of. So, and this guy, you could tell it was a rental. Like, I mean, the appliances were nice appliances, but they were definitely used, and it was like he didn't take any pictures. And I guess that's the other thing is I'm going to try to like do what I can to basically. Well, actually, I guess I did need that. Basically, I want to make it to where landlords and rental companies, they have to take pictures and they have to document the damage. It is not the responsibility of the tenant. And that is something that bothered me because when I worked for housing, I worked for student housing, an apartment complex that was almost exclusively college students, which, and even that had some dumb things. We had Campus Crusaders, which were a bunch of Christian families that would come to these college apartments and rent them out for cheap over the summer. And they would do deals and they'd bring their kids and like they'd have church camp and sing kumbaya and all that. And there would be drunk college kids that, hey, they had to live there for the summer too. And, you know, doing drugs and partying and wild sex parties and all this. And like, oh, but my children are here. Why'd you put your children here? This is a college like area. Like, are you kidding? Like, young adults are exploring and learning here. Like, how dumb are you to like do this? So unseen, you know, circumstances, unforeseen circumstances. Nobody's really fault. It was just like they saw an opportunity to try to make more money during the slow time when, on average, college kids didn't have a high need for housing. So, because they're not in college, they go back home or whatever, they go abroad or whatever the case may be. So, anyways, and that's a whole nother thing. But and I think, and we're getting better on that, like working together to fill unused units for things and like get discounts and all this. And, you know, there are things to be done through communication, organization, and coordination. Like things that people are doing now, because guess what? Enough people are sick of it to where, oof, things got to change. So yeah, this shack of shame is actually looking pretty cool. And I'm not liking it. Like I kind of like this shack now. But it is the shack of shame. Shame. Greedy jerks. Like, I guess that's the thing. Like, this guy, I wouldn't be so mad if he didn't ask so much of me. Like, I paid him early, and I get paid a couple times a month. The last one is like at the end. Ooh, I need some glass, though. And also, I want, whoops. I would like another chest, please. There we go. I'm going to just dump all this, and you don't get to the fancy stuff. You get to the shame. The shack of shame. And I'm going to go get some more wood, too. So, anyways. So I paid this guy early. Normally you don't pay your rent until the first of the month. Okay, well, my second pay was anywhere in the 20s. Like, you know, I think 23, 24, I think 24 might have been the earliest I ever got paid on the second one. It's based on the day of the month. It's not based on an actual, like, number day. Because I work for nonprofits. We do things a little differently than your average corporate, you know, shop. And, which is fine. I'm totally fine with that. Like, I'm actually getting paid what I'm worth. Like, you know, and it's funny to me. They say, like, you know, we can't do competitive wages. Well, in IT, they still do. They have to. Because in order for the education to be a good IT person, you almost have to have a tech degree or several years of experience working with machines. And that in itself is very frustrating. Like, you know, because there are so many things that can go wrong with machines. And a lot of times it's not even the machine, it's how the person's using the machine because the person doesn't know any better. They don't have years of struggling with tech problems and you know, and in tech itself, it's so expensive to get it to work perfectly for every situation that oftentimes it's kind of like Fight Club with the excuse me, the car recall stuff where if enough they have it to a formula, if enough cars explode or this default kills enough people or they calculate the risk to be worth the expenditure, then they do a recall. But if it's not worth the expenditure, they don't do the recall. They just let these dangerous machines out there that could potentially kill people. And that's why Fight Club is such a powerful movie is because that was real. Like, I mean, nowadays I think that after that was exposed, car companies had to be like, okay, you know what? We can't be doing that anymore. We need to actually fix things if they're broken, if they're dangerous. Like, it cannot get to that level. We can't use that calculation sheet basically, which is good. I mean, that's like really messed up. Is like the price of someone's life is how hard it is on the business. Like, imagine dying to that or having a loved one die to that, and then be like, oh, but wait, it was just because it was a business financial decision. Like, my family's dead now because you didn't want to spend the money. Like, that's where it looks really bad. So, and that we're realizing that with healthcare and that sort of thing too. Is like, you know, well, and that's another crusade thing that I do on the X app is like raise awareness that before the Affordable Care Act, we had on average 26,000 people dying from being underinsured or not insured. Like if they would have been able to go to a doctor or a clinic regularly, the reason for their death wouldn't have actually been lethal. It would have been prevented, mitigated, and all this. And there's like a whole bunch of ways they calculate that. And I've actually had someone argue, be like, well, some of this is we don't know if it's by choice. And I'm like, well, exactly. That's still their choice because why did they make that choice? Because it was so complicated and convoluted and like aggravating just to try to get coverage. And then even if you get coverage and spend all this time, money, and effort, you might not even have good coverage. So what's the point? Like you just wasted all that time, money, and effort to get stuff that still won't help you in the end. You'll still have to shell out a bunch of money. Like so, it's these games. And up until now, it's been entire teams of employees playing these games for their company because their company pays them to. So now enough people are getting upset and been like, wait a minute, how hard is your job? Like, how hard is it to not rip people off? A lot of times they're finding, well, it's just expensive. Oh, okay. Well, then you shouldn't be in business. That's how that works. So, and really, and it's a number of things. It's not fair to just point the finger at companies. We need to make expenses lower. Energy production needs to be cheaper, but you still need to pay the people that do the energy production, so it can't get too cheap. I mean, there still has to be some kind of way to pay the people that make it happen. So, but at the same time, with all these advances and things, we might get it to where these machines might just do it for us, and then you need to pay the people that maintain the machines. Okay, well, that's easier, but still there's work and there's needs, so yeah, it's all a big mess, and we're working on fixing it. But at the root of it is greed. Like, we've got people thinking that whether it's accidental or intentional, like this guy, he got so much money from me every month. Well, rent is usually about half or a third of your entire income. Like, for me, it's always been like most of my income, like just to have pay rent. You know, and then there's bills and food. Like, at the end of the day, all this money that I made from jobs and I've worked ever since I was legally allowed to, you know. And so I learned about finances early on. I was like, oh, this is not, it doesn't work. So I started selling bud. You know, I liked smoking bud. It was super expensive. And so then I was like, I can't pay for this. And I didn't want to steal because that wasn't mine to take. So I prided myself on not being a thief all those years. And I think that's why I got so much respect is because people knew that about me. Like, and I was honest with them, straightforward. Like, I was like, hey, I'm paying this much for this. You're getting it for this. I'm only making this much. And then once people realized that didn't sell to make money, I only sold to smoke bud. Like that's the only reason. I could care less about the money, fame, or any of that notoriety, and that just made me more cool, like more mysterious and more, you know, whatever. So even with a pudgy belly, I had no problem dating in my youth. It was nice. Same with that too. I was upfront with them. I was like, "Hey, I like you, but I don't want anything serious. You know, this is all this is." And then I think that was easier for people to be like, "Oh, okay, well, if that's all this is, then let's have fun doing this." And then they would go off and find their forever person, and I would just continue being happy and living my life, getting that milk for free. Just kidding. No, back to Phong. And I don't do that with like, I'm ripping people off or like, I'm excited about this. No, it's just got to be vocal about your needs and desires and wants and where you're at in life and what you expect about things or hope for things. 'Cause that's the other thing. It's all about hoping, not really expecting. Because hardly ever does anything go exactly as planned. Like, that's just a fallacy. Also, I'm trying to remember, I need glass. Hmm. think I have a bunch here. I'm not sure. Where would it be? There's some. And I really can make it any color. Excuse me. All right, so and then I need dyes. And what's a dye that I can just make this as lame as possible? So I'm really not trying to make this a... It's the shack of shame for a reason. There's blue, there's purple. I like the purple. That's going to the Joker Tower. Ah, here we go. Orange. That looks good for disrespecting it. It still kind of looks cool. Oh, wait, what? Hmm. What the heck? Oh, okay. And we'll do a stack of orange, and then we'll do... Also, I don't want to take all the orange. Well, I guess I have a stack of orange here. Alright. The Shack of Shame. And I don't know. I think, like, everything, like, kind of like a Judge Judy without all the expense and everything. Like, put things in front of the public and see what the public thinks. Like, was this fair? Who was in the wrong? And what should be done about it? Because at the end of the day, I did sign, well, verbally a lease with this guy, and I knew he was going through money troubles, and I knew this and that. I should have taken pictures of the bathtubs and let him know, hey, these were filthy. But at the same time, he should have taken pictures of the bathtubs, and he should, if it's his rental, that's what drives me nuts, is like, you're trying to make money off of this thing, you know, that's on you. You're supposed to... Like, it's on me and you. Like, I should have taken pictures, but he should have taken pictures. And now I'm taking pictures of my new place. And my new place has, like, holes punched in the walls and stuff. And, like, you could tell it was definitely a rental, but... Shack of shame. Landlords, I love that. Like... Okay, we need more of these. So we're going to basically just fill up the rest. Oh. Oh wait, did I do that right? As much as I care to. Also, I need to get a slab. Oh, wait, I don't have any slabs. Return the slab. What's your offer? Return the slab. No offer, eh? Alright. Oh, no, that didn't work. So I don't know, like I said, I'm going to do this with everything. Politics, wealth, like, you know, who's really doing what. Because that's one of the other things is like, it drives me nuts that... Actually, I should have extended that out one more, huh? Also, these are in the wrong spot. They're supposed to be here. That's the thing. I'm just fed up with it. Like I'm tired. I was tired the first time I had to deal with a rental company. Like just like the things, the expectations. Like if you break something, then okay. But when you're like, and he was just turning it like a fast turnaround. He wanted to. He put it on the market. I saw the listing online for the first, like no accommodation for like if I didn't clean something, he was just like going to rent it as is to whoever the next sucker was. And that's not fair. Like you need to take some time. And then kind of same with this current place. Like I paid for a partial month, which was kind of stupid. Like, and I wasn't even in the country until like for, the end of it. And it was like, oh, by the way, you still need to pay for these days. Like, we're not going to let it sit vacant on our dime. We're going to let you do that. So, anyways, the shack of shame. Oh, I already noticed one thing I want to change. The beams go all the way up. Okay. So, and at the end of the day, we gave him we gave him $400. So the total cost of getting it ready and giving it back to them was 700. Not to mention like, 700 bucks. That's a lot. That's a lot of money, and for not a lot of dirty. And that's the thing that pisses me off. Is like it was not that bad. Even like like the pictures and the way that he went about it too. He sent them to my mom at like 11 or 11:30 at night. She was asleep. He woke her up, gave her a panic, like, very angry, sending lots and lots of texts over and over, spamming her, just like disrespectful. Like, and she turns around and tells me what he does. And so I get mad and I threaten to take him to court. I was like, are you kidding me? Like all this and that and the way that you left it to me. Like, and I told him, I was like, you disrespected me. You said, and he even asked me not to talk to his ex-wife. He was like, oh, don't talk to her. F her. She's a B. Like, she's such a piece of, this and that. Said really mean things about her. And I was like, okay, you're going through a divorce, whatever. Like, I get it. But, and then I ended up having to talk to her because she had to pay the HOA so the condo didn't get taken. Okay, so there's problem right there. She's paying $1,000 a month to this receivership because he hadn't been paying the HOA on the condo. I get it. He doesn't have a job. Like, he's not working. He doesn't realize, oh, I need to continue working. Like, and they lived off of this nail salon that she was at doing the stuff. Maybe he did some, maybe he didn't. But, like, either way, he was not the breadwinner, but he was supposed to be the man, the adult. So, and then she's telling me, like, he doesn't shovel the snow. He doesn't mow the grass. Like, he's just slacks off on all these things. He just gets drunk and gambles. And, like, he's just in a horrible position. He's all of this stuff. And I'm like, okay, so he's kind of a loser in life and he's had these hardships and he's not really doing much to fix it. Doesn't have a lot of support, maybe. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to figure out, like, he's a person. Doesn't mean he's really a piece of trash. He might be a piece of trash right now, but he has potential. He could fix it. So, but he took a shortcut with me. Instead of just being like, you know what? I did leave it kind of dirty for him when he moved in and this isn't all that bad. That's what I was thinking. I was hoping he'd be like, okay, he told me he didn't have time to clean it. He told me he would come by and clean it. And I said, okay. And then he just decided, no, this isn't okay. I'm done. And he made that decision without talking to me, without checking with me, and without telling me anything, and went straight to snitching to my mom like a freaking child. Like, you can tell, like, if I saw him face to face, I'd probably say some pretty mean things to him. And I did, too. I sent him a couple of text messages. Nothing too bad. Nothing that would be seen in the court of law as like menacing. I just let him know I'm not happy with it. You disrespected me, and after all I did for you, this is how you treat me. That was just garbage. And I still have his parking permit. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to give that back. I was thinking about it. It's a sticker, so you're supposed to just attach it to your car, but they didn't really think it through all the way because it needs to be visible the other way. So most people just used some tape to tape it so it's visible outward, because the sticker's on the wrong side. If you wanted to stick it on the outside of a car, it would work, but most people that would just come right off. So most people just taped it to the inside of the windshield, so then it can still be seen, but then it doesn't stick to the car as bad. Something. So I was thinking, okay, I take it off as a sticker, stick it to his front door, but that's too mean because then and that might also cause damage to the door. Okay, so I don't want to do that. But and then the water heater. That's the biggest thing that upsets me. Like, so the water heater goes out. I don't have hot water for pretty much a month. Like, I would have to look at the exact dates, and I plan on doing that because I have all our text messages when I said, hey, the water heater's not working. And I got it to work again, not working. And it happened during a cold snap. Like, our thermostat went out, and it was just because it wasn't a well-maintained condo. Like, you could tell nobody put any time, money, or effort into updating or fixing it. It still had a super old thermostat that you'd see on houses from like the 70s or the 80s, so there was no modernization there. You could tell he'd never cleaned out the air ducts because dust was just dumping, so it was a very dusty condo, and like I had to live with that, and just like little things, and like the air filters had never been changed, like I had to change that, and then, and I changed that regularly just to make sure that my kids and I weren't being poisoned, like, you gotta have a good air filter. There's no monoxide detector, and I think that's a violation of law, actually. Like, I think I could have, we had to get a carbon monoxide detector. So all of these things, I'm going to keep track of all of it and let them know. Be like, okay, well, this, and this, and this. And then I'm going to tell somebody about it. Right now I'm telling you, the viewer. But whether I want to get him in trouble, no, I don't want to get him in trouble. I want him to fix it and not be such a garbage piece of trash to the next person. Oh, and there's the alarm. All right, let's see. Oh, the shack of shame. Actually, that looks all right for a shack of shame. I'm trying to decide if I want to do another episode or if I should go do some other things. My kiddos are on the way. They'll be here soon. Then it's going to be a fun day of gaming and sports and all this. So that's, at the end of the day, it was a nice place for me to rent. It wasn't super expensive, but that's why I ended up moving out, because he wanted to raise the rent from 1,500 to 1,800, which I guess is the going rate for a two-bedroom, two-bathroom condo in Fort Collins, which is ridiculous, and that needs to change. And he already raised it once on me. It was 1,400. We raised it up to 1,500. He kept that for 2 years. Then he wanted to raise it to 1,800. That's more than 100 a year, and that's not okay. You talk to anybody about how they, and maybe that's why he doesn't understand. Is like anybody working a job, the cost of living adjustment, you'd be lucky if you got an extra 1,200 a month. Like, that's what that equates to. If they raise the rent on you $100 a month every year, and then you don't get paid $100 a month more every year, so that's basically like price gouging that, you know, accidental if it was, but it doesn't matter. It still sucks. And he did that to me. I only lived there 4 years. He raised the rent once. He tried to raise it three more times, but like I kind of, I stood my ground on that. I was like, come on now. I don't get paid more, so you don't get paid more. That's how that works. Like, if you're gonna do this, you need to check with me if I can afford this and if it's even fair. Like, because you didn't do anything, literally nothing. The garage was falling apart. I had to re-screw in a bolt. Yeah, no, let's do another episode. All right, ta-ta, I'll see you over there. I'm a little upset about this.